యూనివర్సిటీకి రాజపోషకులుగా మారి భారత వ్యతిరేక పరిశోధనలను స్పాన్సర్ చేస్తున్నారు. ఇది మనకు తెలియనటువంటి కొత్త విషయం ఇది. సో మనకేదో మన బిజినెస్ హౌసెస్ పేరు మీద హార్వర్డ్ యూనివర్సిటీలో ఒక స్కూల్ డెవలప్ చేయటం, ఒక డిపార్ట్మెంట్ డెవలప్ చేయటం, ఒక చైర్ ఎస్టాబ్లిష్ చేయటం, అవన్నీ చూసి మనం ఆనందపడుతూ ఉంటాం, మన వాళ్ళు చాలా మంచి పనులు చేస్తున్నారని. కానీ మన ఇండస్ట్రీస్లో అర్థం చేసుకోవట్లేదు, పెద్ద పెద్ద పారిశ్రామిక ఫ్యామిలీస్ అర్థం చేసుకోవటం లేదు, వాళ్ళ దాన్ని ఏమి పరిశీలించట్లేదు. తర్వాత వాళ్ళు ఇస్తున్నటువంటి ఫండ్స్ దేనికి ఉపయోగపడుతున్నాయి అనేది వాళ్ళు అర్థం చేసుకోవట్లేదు. అది చాలా ఇంపార్టెంట్ ఇష్యూ వారు అందరూ తీసుకొచ్చారు. అంటే మన నిధులతో, మన యువ మేధావులతో మన దేశానికి వ్యతిరేకంగా జరుగుతున్నటువంటి అనేక పరిశోధనలను, నెట్వర్క్స్ను, డేటా కలెక్షన్ గురించి వారు చెప్పారు. ఇందాక అరవిందరావు గారు మాట్లాడుతూ ఆర్టిఫిషియల్ ఇంటెలిజెన్స్ పుస్తకం గురించి చెప్పారు. రాజీవ్ మల్హోత్రా గారు రాసిన ఆర్టిఫిషియల్ ఇంటెలిజెన్స్. స్నేక్స్ ఇన్ ద గంగా పుస్తకంలో చాలా చోట్ల ఏ విధంగా డేటా, బిగ్ డేటా ఏ విధంగా క్యాప్చర్ చేస్తున్నారనే విషయం వస్తుంది. ఆ బిగ్ డేటా ఏ విధంగా క్యాప్చర్ చేస్తున్నారు, బిగ్ డేటా యొక్క ఇంపార్టెన్స్ ఏమిటి, ఆ బిగ్ డేటాని క్యాప్చర్ చేసి ఏ విధంగా ఆర్టిఫిషియల్ ఇంటెలిజెన్స్ అల్గారిథమ్స్ను దాన్ని ఉపయోగిస్తారు, దాన్ని భారతదేశానికి వ్యతిరేకంగా ఏ విధంగా ఉపయోగించవచ్చు మొదలైనటువంటి అంశాలు చాలా చాలా కొత్తవి, మనకు తెలియనివి. సో అట్లాగే ఇప్పుడు ఈ దావోస్ కుబేరులు, ప్రపంచ కుబేరులు ఏ విధంగా వాళ్ళ యొక్క సామాజిక ఎజెండాను ప్రపంచం మీద రుద్దుతున్నారు. సో ప్రతి ఏటా జరుగుతుంది దావేసులు. మన రాష్ట్రం నుంచి కూడా ముఖ్యమంత్రులు వెళ్తుంటారు, ఫైనాన్స్ మినిస్టర్స్ వెళ్తుంటారు, అందరూ వెళ్తుంటారు. సో వాళ్ళు ఏ విధంగా ఈ ప్రపంచంలోనే అత్యంత సంపన్నులైనటువంటి కుబేరులు ఏ విధంగా వాళ్ళు ఇప్పుడు దే ఆర్ ట్రైంగ్ టు మ్యానిపులేట్ ది సోషల్ ఎజెండాస్ అనే విషయాన్ని కూడా వారు వెలుగులోకి తీసుకొచ్చారు. చాలా అనేకమైనటువంటి విషయాల్ని అందులో ఉన్నాయి, పొందుపరిచారు. సో హార్వర్డ్ విశ్వవిద్యాలయం కేంద్రంగా జరుగుతున్నటువంటి కుట్రను వారు బహిర్గతం చేశారు. వీటన్నిటినీ కూడా మనం చదువుకోవాలి, చాలా లోతుగా అధ్యయనం చేసి మనకి ఇచ్చినటువంటి విషయాలు. సో 700 పేజీలు మనకు ఇచ్చారు, 350 పేజీలు ఎంతో రిఫరెన్స్లు, ఫుట్ నోట్స్ కూడా ఉన్నాయి. అంటే వారు రాసిన ప్రతి సెంటెన్స్ కూడా, ప్రతి వాక్యం కూడా, ప్రతి కాన్సెప్ట్ కూడా దానికి సంబంధించినటువంటి పూర్తి ఎవిడెన్స్తో ఆ పుస్తకం రాయడం జరిగింది. కాబట్టి మనం ఆ పుస్తకాన్ని బాగా చదవాలని కోరుకుంటూ అందులో ఉన్నటువంటి విషయాల్ని ప్రెస్ వాళ్ళు ముఖ్యంగా దాన్ని వెలుగులోకి తీసుకురావాలని కోరుకుంటూ నేను ముగిస్తున్నాను. థ్యాంక్ యూ వెరీ మచ్.
ధన్యవాదాలు సారంపల్లి గారు. Now the floor is open to Rajiv Malhotra ji. We're all very anxiously waiting for you. Kindly.
Namaste. This is an amazing welcome to Hyderabad, thanks to a large group of organizers who put this very elaborate 3-day visit for us. So I'm very grateful to that. Thank you so much. This is, I'm told, this is primarily a media interaction.
Appetizer.
Appetizer. So I don't think it's a good idea I'll speak a whole lot, because I think your questions will be very important. And the speaker before me did a very good job summarizing in Telugu. He's also translating the book into Telugu. He tells me it's almost ready, so we are looking forward to having the translated script and then we get it published. So instead of repeating what all he said, I think it's better we should move on to the interviews. I'm told there are certain people who want to come and interview, and the choice was doing it here versus somewhere else. I thought, why not do it here, because we have everybody here. So do we sit here only? How? No? Yeah. That's it. So from there they'll ask questions. Okay, so first it will be questions from there, and then there will be some individual people coming here to do interaction. That's the format? Fine. So let's have questions.
So the first question.
Right. Good evening, sir. Good evening, madam. This is Niranjan Desai from Bharatavarsha News, a local organization. Welcome to Bhagyanagar, sir. This is not Hyderabad, this is Bhagyanagar. We proudly call it Bhagyanagar always. My question related to Infinity Foundation. Let me read the question, sir. There's a lot of indifference and ignorance among the Indian masses about the likes of the work of Infinity Foundation. I keep posting in many groups, but the traction that media, social media, but the traction that I get for this ministry, very less compared to latest music trends in the market. And last but the least, since yesterday midnight, whole India is covering Tribula's achievement in Oscar, and Natu song got Oscar award. No other news, any channel got it. This is the picture. So in this situation, they don't want to know about our true history, culture, heritage. History may be economic phase, maybe different phases. That the indifference gone invite our own entire civilization. My question is how to face it.
How to face it?
Yeah. How to bring them back to track.
So the question is that in spite of 30 years of work we've done, not hobby, not part-time, but full-time, and put all everything I have done into this, and with the help of very good people like you trying to promote it also, at the end of the day there's very little traction compared to some cricket match or some Bollywood or some, some new sensation, some popular culture, excitement. So people like that. Now what has happened in my opinion, compared to when I was a student long ago, I think the level of thinking has gone down in the sense that there is short attention span. We used to read a lot. Then television came, so it was less. Now social media even less. So now they tell you that if you have only a few seconds to make your point. Nobody is going to read hard. But we were reading very hard in those days. Our civilization is built on traditions which require a lot of concentration, a lot of attention span. There would be discussions and debates go on for days. The big teachings are requiring serious thinking, concentration. So there is a degradation of the mind, quality of mind, the level of thinking has gone down. Now when you have people like that, then in a democracy, you have to cater to such people in order to get elected. So the politicians have to become low in thinking and become emotional. Offer them emotional idea here, there, something very simple everybody can understand. But if you offer them a serious proposition, something long term, an idea, a concept, they're not going to understand. They're not going to vote for somebody like that. So they're going to vote for a person who talks about, big, bombastic statements. So you give them very hyperbolic, very exaggerated statements, make them feel proud and make them feel good emotionally, then they will vote for you. So this is the problem of, it's a downward spiral of democracy requiring appeasement of people, and this requires giving them short-term, quick sensations, and the people are becoming like that, and then they're demanding more of the same. So a country like that will be ruined, because we are facing China, which is very different. China spent 50 years educating everybody for 2 generations. Everybody today, young people, they are educated, their parents were educated, their grandparents were educated. So 3rd generation of educated people. And when I interact with them all over the world, they're very analytical, they can concentrate, they can think for themselves, even though they don't know English, but when you speak to them in English, they come back with intelligent answers. Whereas I find that a lot of our people, you ask them some question, they give you some random answer, ki baat, useless talk. So they're not able to think clearly. So what to do is a very serious problem. The problem is not me and the traction. Who cares about my traction? I'm talking about bigger problems like lack of education system, lack of proper values in our NCRT, the UPSC exam. I'm talking about, and what has happened is, as we point out in Snakes in the Ganga, the government has outsourced a lot of the thinking to foreign consultants. So even though we say we are decolonized, we are running our country politically because we are getting elected. After getting elected, we are getting all kind of advisors coming in, telling us about data security rights, national education policy, all sorts of things. We are open to others coming, taking over. Now the government is going to allow, invite foreign universities to set up campuses with no restrictions. Indian universities have restrictions. But the restrictions do not apply to the foreign universities, neither in the subject they'll teach, nor the kind of people they can hire, nor how much they can pay or what the tuition is. So they have an advantage over the local. It is actually not a level playing field. So this is a path to self-destruction. We can keep having slogans like Vishwa Guru and so on, but we are becoming Vishwa Chela. We are becoming Vishwa Chela, following other people, and very proud that we can say Vishwa Guru, Vasudeva Kutumbakam. The glory of the rishis is great, but that's like saying Tendulkar made centuries, but I can be out for zero. Who cares? Because Tendulkar made centuries. That is stupid, because we have to produce thinking people today, and people who are competent today. Like Arvind Raoji said, these are jobs that the national security people have to do, and they are not being vigilant about these things. So I am worried about this, and I think thinkers like you and Arvind Raoji and Mr. Raghu and many other people here, they have to now take this as a campaign to put pressure on the political people, put pressure on the government people, that they have to take these matters seriously. Otherwise, I think nothing can happen. But I would say another responsibility lies with parents to educate their children better. So, Vijay, would you want to comment?
As far as educating our children, we've left it to the system. Not only have we left it to the system, we've also not decolonized ourselves enough. So the reason for the education policy to bring in foreign universities is that many parents are spending thousands of dollars, lakhs of rupees to send their children overseas. So why not bring those colleges and those universities onto home turf so that they can just get educated right here. But we haven't looked at what is the kind of education we're bringing in. So we don't do due diligence at all levels. The government doesn't do due diligence to see who the experts are, whom are they working for, what is their allegiance towards. So when you bring an Ernst & Young or somebody like that, they are not worried about India or Indian civilization or the Indian workforce. They are just doing a consulting assignment to make money for their parent company, right? So when you're trying to bring in foreign universities, it's good to do due diligence to see how have other countries handled foreign universities. For example, you don't have to take the extreme example of China, but you can look at somebody like Singapore. You can look at what Russia is doing. You can look at other countries that value their civilizational ethos. They value their education system, things like that. For example, Singapore had an MOU with Yale University. Yale NUS was a tie-up. They had an MOU for 10 years, started in 2014. And 2020, they said this was the last 4-year batch. By 2024, we're going to sever the ties with Yale University. Yale is such a big brand. And they were bringing liberal arts to Singapore. But Singaporean parliament discussed it. They said, this is making our society very divisive, and therefore we don't want Western liberal arts in Singapore. It's a wise decision. And they cut the ties with Yale University because it was not good for Singapore. They said Singaporeans are multiracial, very diverse, different ethnicities, and we've been living harmoniously for many, many decades. And we do not want Western ideas of social science to come and break our society apart. And we're a very small country, we can't afford to do this. So these are big decisions that some governments take. Apparently ours doesn't. Similarly, even in the house, we don't do due diligence as to what the education our children receive. Right? Whether in school, in NCRT, where are they going? If we send them abroad, what are they studying? How much are we paying? What are we getting in return? If you look at liberal arts, students from liberal arts universities overseas, when I say liberal arts also has STEM subjects, pure sciences and mathematics also under liberal arts, but I'm not talking about that. I'm talking mainly about social sciences and humanities. And most of these students that graduate overseas, even from great universities like Harvard, do not get a job. If you graduate after 4 years, with $250,000 in student loans you have, to get a degree in gender studies or African American studies or some of these studies which come under liberal arts, you have no skill. This is unskilling India. Bringing Western liberal arts universities is actually paying money to unskill India and make activists out of our students. So this is happening overseas. They all live in their mother's basement, their parents' basements, and that's a big no-no for the Western society. And they can't get a job, and they have student loans. So the US president has said, I will forgive all student loans just to get votes. But this is such a worthless education. So we haven't even done due diligence for that. So I think we don't do due diligence, and that goes back to the low IQ, and attention deficit sort of society that we have, and especially the younger generation.